The Battle of Uhud, a fierce, intense, blood-stained battle. It was a clash of swords and armors, arrows hissed through the air, and chaos and confusion reigned supreme. And I dare not say it was just due to disobedience of a prophetic guideline that the Muslims themselves snatched defeat from the jaws of victory. I repeat, they snatched defeat from the jaws of victory. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I am Masjah and I'm here to speak about the major lesson from the Battle of Uhud for the modern world. إن رأيتمونا تخطفنا الطير فلا تبرحوا مكانكم حتى أرسل إليكم. Even if you see that the birds are picking up from our corpses, do not leave this position of yours until I give you the command. This was the guideline given by the Prophet to the 50 archers whom he positioned at a hillock to protect the rear of the army. The war was at its rage, and the enemy began to flee from the battlefield. It was at this moment that some of these archers unknowingly committed a fatal mistake. When they saw the enemy fleeing, they forgot about the Prophet's command. They thought that the war was over and rushed to collect the war booty. It was now that Khalid bin Walid, who was the chief of the disbelievers, returned to the battlefield along with his men, which made the Muslims being surrounded by both the sides. And then, defeat was snatched from the jaws of victory. Their mistake was that they disobeyed the Prophet. Disobedience, this topic is a very heavy and deep one. A topic that, despite its sensitivity, needs to be raised. We disobey the Prophet in every aspect of life, and we get to see consequences daily, but we fail to realize the negligence on our part. We disobeyed the Prophet on israf, extravagance, how we mindlessly spend in weddings. We spend lakhs and crores just for the sake of show-off, when the Prophet said, the best of marriage is the one which is made easiest. The consequence is that today we have no schools, no colleges, no institutions, no universities. We disobeyed the Prophet in business affairs. The Prophet said, the one who consumes riba, interest, will not be able to stand on the day of judgment. Our businesses and earning sources start right from the consuming of riba. The consequence is that the barakah is taken away from our lives. We are deprived of Allah's mercy. Our du'as are not accepted. Why? There's a hadith of a man who, having journeyed far, is disheveled and dusty, and he raises his hands towards the sky saying, O Lord, while his food is haram, his drink is haram, his clothing is haram, and he has been nourished with haram, how can his supplication be answered? Sahih Muslim. It is a supplication of a traveler, one of those people whose supplication is never turned back. How do we expect our supplications to be answered when we are in the same position? We disobeyed the Prophet in the matter of tabarruj, exposing our beauty to non-mahram men. We indulged ourselves in mixed gatherings, forgetting our hijab. The consequence is that today we are proving it to the world that, yes, my hijab is an integral part of my religion, but the world is not ready to accept it. Why? It is not because of anything except our own actions. We disobeyed the Prophet in family matters. The Prophet said, the best among you is the one who is good to his family. We forgot about Islam in regards to our matters. A member of the family prays but fails to remind the others when there's an ayah in the Quran. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Tahrim, ayah number 6, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, قُوا أَنفُسَكُمْ وَأَهْلِيكُمْ نَارًا. O you who believe, protect yourselves and your ahl, your families from the fire. When the Prophet said this, we forgot about it. And the consequence is that the youth of our household, who must be the backbone of the ummah and set an example for Islam, are found on the streets doing all the unnecessary activities. Whose mistake is this? It is our negligence, our disobedience that we have taken the Prophet's sunnah as an option. Fine, I'll tell you a story which is quite relatable to our situation right now. So there's this obese man who goes to the doctor, the test reports are out, and before the doctor says anything, he says, Doctor, obesity runs in my family. On which the doctor smiles and he replies, the problem is not that obesity runs in your family. The problem is nobody runs in your family. Just like that man, none of us are ready to take responsibility of what we have done. All right, the main criteria of saying all this was that disobedience of Allah and His Messenger is a cause of disaster and defeat for the Ummah today. It's a high time we realize that right is right even if it is mocked, and wrong is wrong even if it is cultured. May Allah help us learn from these lessons. Jazakallahu khairan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.